Hello, pastors and friends and supporting churches. We just wanted to take this time and thank you so much for your support throughout the course of 2020. And I know it's been a very difficult year. It's been a very strange year for all of us, but it's been exciting to see all that God's done in our lives and through the ministry that God's called us to do. So we wanted to take a time and give you a short little update on all that God has done throughout the course of this year. In the month of June, in the first week of June, we were actually able to go ahead and move from our home in Florida up to Norfolk, Virginia, get all of our stuff up there, and we were met by a bunch of men from the church who were willing to come and help us move, and that was a real blessing. Since that time, we've been actively involved in our local church in our new home up here in Virginia, and we've just fallen in love with our new church family, and that has been very exciting just to be able to jump in and get involved in the local church ministries here in Virginia. So with our local church, we go out to Virginia Beach on the boardwalk area, and we're able to witness to all the people that are just visiting, the people that are coming in from out of town, and be able to give them gospel tracts. We also have been on Friday afternoons with our local church going out to different places around where there's a lot of traffic, which there is in this area, and we're able just to hold up a sign that says Jesus saves, Jesus is still the answer, and just try to encourage people to think about the Lord, to think about their eternity. And that's been really exciting to do with our local church. So we're really thankful for where God has us. We're really thankful for our new church family. And they've also been very excited about joining with us in this ministry. So since the time that we moved in the month of June, we went ahead and got established here in Virginia. And then we left and have been traveling and going in and out all over the country. We've been as far as Texas. We've been as far north as Ohio. And we've really been traveling all over the Bible Belt area. And the blessing about the work that we have is when we don't have any meetings, we're able to go back home right here to Virginia, and we're able to continue boarding ships here in Norfolk, Virginia in between meetings. So that's been a real blessing. So if I was going to pick a year where I was going to start deputation, it would not be 2020. But God has been so good to us in providing for our every needs. And it's been such a blessing to see how God's people through this time have been sacrificial in their giving. They have been so sweet and so kind to us as we travel. And I tell people all the time, it's really hard for Haley and I to be on this side of deputation. We're used to missionaries coming through our church. We're used to giving them gift baskets and being a blessing to missionaries. And now to be on the other side of that is very difficult, and it's a learning curve for us. But we're so thankful to all of the churches that we've been in, and they have been so kind and so nice to us, and we've really appreciated that. So deputation has gone really well. We're sitting right at about 55%, not promise support, but support already coming in. So that's a real blessing. Next, our ministry. Because of COVID, there has been some restrictions on what we can do and what we can't do in the port facility, but praise God, COVID has not shut down our work, and I know there's a lot of missionaries that can't be in their field because of this COVID virus, but that's not been the case with us, and we're so thankful to God that He has allowed the port facility to stay open where we can go in and reach these men with the gospel. But also what we have done, and we really struggled with this, we really fought with the decision which direction we should go. But since the men were not allowed to get off the ship and get things that they couldn't get in their home country, we really prayed hard about the decision to be willing to go to the store and pick up things for the men and bring it back to them so that way they can bring things home for their families. If their phone is broken, we can get them a new phone and we can bring it to them so they can contact their home. And in doing that, God has opened up not just the doors for us to witness to officers and captains of ships, but it has opened up the hearts of men who otherwise would be totally closed to the gospel. And so that's been just an exciting thing to see how God works through just simple things like that, just going to the store and picking up something and bringing it back to the men without charging anything for it. That is unheard of for these men, and they have really appreciated it. and it has opened up the doors wide for us to be able to talk to the men about the Lord. So we're really excited about doing that, and God's really used it to bless and give us more opportunities to be a witness. Now, since we've moved up here and gotten involved in our local church, there have been men in our local church who have gotten their TWIC card, and they get to see firsthand what God is doing here in the port facility. They get to see what it's like to be able to step into China or step into Myanmar or step into Bulgaria and witness to these men. And in many cases, when we board these ships, we are the first witness that these men have ever heard. Not all the time, but many times we are the first person that's ever explained the gospel to these men. And so that's been really exciting to have men from our local church board ships with us and get involved in this work. And that's our desire. We don't want this work to be just Haley and I. We want this to be a local church ministry, and we want churches to be able to get involved in the work firsthand, and God's provided that for us, and that's been really exciting to see in 2020. We have, by God's grace, been able to get the gospel into many different countries through this ministry this year. Of course, the primary country that we see is the Philippines. It's a very high number of Filipino seamen because they're hard workers, but also the country of China, the country of Yemen, the country of Bulgaria, the country of Poland, Ukraine. We've also had India. We've had a lot of officers from Sri Lanka. But it's been really exciting to be able to get the gospel into these countries, many of them being totally closed to an American missionary, and many of them being totally closed to the gospel because of their national religion. But this year we've been able to see the gospel get into their hands, and they've been able to get the Word of God in their language for themselves. So that's been really, really exciting as well. One more thing that I did want to mention about the ministry this year. There's been many different exciting experiences that are memorable for me. But one of them is on December 25th, of course, everything in the port facility was shut down, but the captain of the ship allowed us to come right to the ship with as many men as we wanted to bring from our church and have an actual church service right there aboard the ship. And so we did. We prayed, we studied, and then the next day on December 25th, I grabbed my guitar, we printed some hymns, and we boarded the ship with 2 men from our church. And we were actually able to have a church service right there aboard the ship and got to preach about not just that Jesus came, but to preach why Jesus came, and that is to take away the sins of the world. So just experiences like that just make this ministry so exciting. It makes it interesting, learning how these different countries and different nationalities operate and learning how their cultures are different and how to reach them from their perspective and from their culture. But just it's been so exciting to take the gospel and bring it to men from all over the world right here from our doorstep. But all the religions of the world teach the same thing. We know there's a God, and the way to get to God is join our religion, do these good deeds, and if you do enough, maybe you can go to heaven and maybe not. But you can never know for sure. So 2020 has been a very interesting year for us. It's been a leap of faith for us to leave our job and leave our home and move up here by faith, not knowing exactly what was going to happen, not knowing if we were going to be able to get support. And God has been bringing in the support. God's been allowing us to do the work, and it's been really exciting. So as we look into the year 2021, I cannot believe it's that year already. As we look forward into this next year, there are many things that we would like to see happen. There are many things that we're praying about, and we'd love for you to pray with us about. One of them being our support. We have a desire to finish raising our support this year, so that way we can be in Virginia full-time working in this ministry. But secondly, we would also, once we're here full-time, we would like to be able to branch out into other terminals in this area, not just the coal pier where we currently are, but get into other ports in this area so we can begin reaching more men with the gospel of Jesus Christ. So that's been really, really exciting. So another thing that we'd like to see this year is as things begin to open up, we would really like to see God provide us with a ministry vehicle. And we know the Lord is going to do that. We've already been saving and putting aside money towards that. And this year, once we're here full-time, we'd like to go ahead and purchase a ministry van. So as we're able to start taking more men off the ship and expanding the ministry in that way, we have a vehicle that is capable of doing that. And so we'd appreciate your prayers on that. Again, thank you so much for your support throughout the course of this year. I know it's been a difficult year, but God has been so good to us, and He's used you to do that. And so we greatly appreciate your support during this time. Another thing that we're praying about is more laborers. We have spent some time with a dear brother in Mobile, Alabama, doing this same work, but he needs some help. We have, in the future, we're going to have many other ports that we can get to, and we're going to need some help. But also just praying that God will raise up some more young people that are excited about doing something for God, and maybe will be willing to go to a foreign field and establish churches in foreign countries. So you pray with us that God will raise up some more laborers that can do this with us. Thank you again so much for your support. We appreciate your prayer. We appreciate all the comments. We appreciate the feedback and even the input. And Lord willing, we will see God do some great things in the year 2021. Thank you so much, and Lord bless.
Okay, I'm just gonna fall off this bridge. This is not a good idea, babe.